order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Roger Brown,
Here.
Sandra Stotney,
Here.
Nathaniel Harris, Ann Herbert. Here. William Hutton. Here. Lionel Raymond.
Here.
Michael Pinker. Kim White. Here. Thomas White.
Here.
7 present, we have a quorum.
Next order of business is approval of the minutes of the July 20th meeting. So moved. Motion? Have a second? Second. Okay. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against? Motion passes. Old business. Brian, you wanted to bring something up?
Yeah, I'd like a motion to add to the agenda CP 1507, Luke's 850 Indianapolis addition to the city of Hammond, which is 850 to 852 Indianapolis Boulevard.
I didn't hear everything you said, Brian. I didn't hear any of that. Neither.
Okay, I would like a motion
Okay.
to add CP 1507, Luke's 850 Indianapolis addition to the city of Hammond at 850 to 852 Indianapolis Boulevard to the agenda.
Motion to add to the agenda.
Motion? Second. Second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Roger Brown,
Yes.
Sandra Stotney,
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris,
Yes.
Ann Herbert. Yes. William Hutton.
Yes.
Lionel Raymond.
Yes.
Kim White. Yes. Thomas White.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed.
The Plan Commission approved this plat at its May meeting. The plat has been signed by all the parties, but was not recorded. Subsequent to that, the owner determined that there was an easement that was left off of the plat drawing. And according to the subdivision control ordinance, this change of easement falls under the re-recording procedures. And re-recordings do not require public notice or public hearing. So the request is for the Plan Commission to approve or grant preliminary and final approval to the modified subdivision plat. If you look on the drawing that's attached, you will see a 20-foot easement that is parallel to the west boundary of Lot 1A and the east boundary of Lot 1. That is what is being added to the plat. And should the Plan Commission approve this modification, then everything would have to be re-signed.
Do we have a motion? Do I have a motion?
I so move, Mr. President. Second.
And I think the attorney would like you to actually state the motion rather than I so moved.
Then I'll retract my motion, because I do have a question.
Okay.
Can I ask a question now?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Could you please tell us again where that easement was? I'm sorry.
The easement is identifying the plat as a 20-foot utility easement. It is on the east boundary of Lot 1 and the west boundary of Lot 1A. And if you notice in the drawing, north is to the right rather than to the
Right.
top of the page.
Understand? Got it. Thank you.
like to make a motion to, basically, the motion should be to modify the plat to correct this error, right, Brian?
Actually, the motion is, as stated in the report, grant preliminary and final approval of the modified subdivision plat.
Motion to grant the preliminary and final approval for the modified subdivision plan.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Roger Brown,
Yes.
Sandra Sadler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris,
Yes.
Dan Herbert. Yes. William Hutton,
Yes.
Juan Moreno,
Yes.
Kim White. Yes. Thomas White,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion carries.
The second motion is that the Plan Commission adopt the staff report as its findings of fact.
I'd move that we adopt the staff report as findings of fact.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Roger Brown,
Yes.
Sandra Sadler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris,
Yes.
Dan Herbert. Yes. William Hutton,
Yes.
Juan Moreno,
Yes.
Kim White. Yes. Thomas White,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion carries.
That completes everything, Brian, for that?
Yes, it does.
Okay, then we'll move on to new business. CP 15-14, petition of NPE Holdings LLC to request approval of a one-lot subdivision called Tribalogic Addition located at 7205 through 11 Columbia Avenue, which is Zone C4 General Commercial District within the city of Hammond. The notices went out for the public hearing?
Yes, they did.
Okay, thank you. And you're representing
Yes.
Tribalogic?
Yes, Scott Yaney. The actual owner is NPE Holdings LLC. That entity is affiliated with Tribalogic, and so the subdivision will be known as the Tribalogic subdivision. And now, just ever so briefly, we have filed an application for approval of a subdivision. I believe I have seen a preliminary version of the staff report. I believe everything is set out to identify why this is necessary. We had some history of having to take care of an easement with the sanitary district that had held this up for at least a little bit of time, and this was an old library property that actually has a sanitary line or sewer line going under the building, and so we had to get a specific easement to address that issue in place. That has now been done, and it was always the intent to get this into a single subdivision.
Any questions of the petitioner? Anybody in the audience? Well, public hearing's closed. Brian, staff report?
The staff sent the plant out for agency review. The majority of the responses have been received, but with those that we have received, there were no objections that were being stated. The subdivision plat does meet all the technical requirements of the subdivision ordinance. Staff recommends that the Plan Commission grant preliminary and final approval of the subdivision plat. If the Plan Commission agrees, then the second motion would be that the Plan Commission adopt the staff report as its findings of fact.
Any questions of staff? If not, do I have a motion to grant preliminary and final approval of the subdivision plat?
Motion to grant the preliminary and final approval of the subdivision plat.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Roger Brown,
Yes.
Sandra Sadler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris,
Yes.
Dan Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Juan Moreno,
Yes.
Kim White. Yes. Thomas White,
Yes.
0 nays, 0
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to adopt the staff report as preliminary, as findings of fact?
I'd move that we adopt the staff report as findings of fact. Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Dr. Brown?
Yes.
Sandy Stodney?
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
William Hutton?
Yes.
Juan Moreno?
Yes.
Kim White?
Yes.
Thomas White?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay. I think that completes CP 15-14.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we move on to CP-15-15, petition of Marina Development, petition of the Marina District Development LLC to reclassify property at the 900 block of Indianapolis Boulevard and 1000 block of 1000 through 1100 blocks of Fifth Avenue from C2 General Shopping Center District, C4 General Commercial District, I2 Manufacturing District to PUD Planned Unit Development. We have a public hearing for that today. Were the notices sent out?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Good evening, I'm Dan Tersman with Marina District Development. I'm here to present this project, and I know you're all familiar through some of the other processes we've been doing, but the project overall, I've made this board to kind of be able to help demonstrate, or point to some of the areas that we're going to be discussing. This first order of business is the rezoning to PUD. So there's, to kind of orient you, we have the existing Walmart, the horseshoe ramp, Cargill, there's an existing BP gas station. So in order to create this new development, we have been going through the whole series of processes to vacate the right-of-ways as appropriate, and this portion of things is to, we had done a plat of subdivision on some of the existing Walmart parcel as well as this gas station, and we'll be combining a portion of those parcels with the new PUD plat. In order to do so, we need to rezone a portion of some of those properties to be consistent with the PUD zoning. The plat process will be, the intent of that is to combine then the three different zoning classifications. We have an I2.
Dan, can you back as best you can?
So there are three existing zoning classifications, an I2, C4, and C2. So this process would then be to combine all of those parcels and rezone that to PUD's district. The existing property is mostly vacant, underutilized property. Neighboring properties are the fueling station, Walmart, Casino Drive, Overpass, and Cargill. We believe this development is in keeping with the goals of the comprehensive plan and will have a very positive impact to the existing businesses and property values, and we hope that this will ultimately set a new precedent for continued improvement to the area.
Can you illustrate on your drawing where the different zoning classifications are?
Yes.
Or do you need help? I can do, you know.
The existing BP gas station here that we actually, the previous plat discussed, there's the lot 1 that will remain what it is. The parcel that was subdivided out through that plat is this lot 1A. That's currently I2, so that will be then incorporated into the new PUD as part of the access roadways, access drives, and become Marina Drive. A portion of the lot up, or there's another parcel that's in this triangle area right here that will be, that's currently, I believe, C4, as well as the Walmart parcel. So again, with the Walmart parcel, there is a piece of the access drive currently that is zoned with, as C4 with Walmart. So then that portion will become part of the new PUD through a roadway relocation agreement that we've executed with Walmart that will then essentially sharing the new access drives as part of Walmart's agreement, then they would allow this portion of their plat to, or of their parcel to be then incorporated into the new PUD. And then the existing, the rest of the remaining property is currently C4. C2, excuse me.
And actually where 110th used to come through, that portion north of 110th, east of Fifth Avenue is C4.
C4, correct.
That completes your presentation?
On this one, yes.
Okay. Any questions? If there's no questions, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on CP 15-50? I thought we were going to have a comment, but it looks like we aren't. Anyone want to comment? Anyone want to comment? Public hearing's closed. Ryan, you probably should just give your staff recommendation.
Yeah, I think the presentation covered most of the salient facts of it. One of the most important things that I think, from my perspective, that is about this project is that the comprehensive plan from 1992 talked about zoning this property as PUD and as developing a regional shopping center. And I think it's really great that we're finally reaching that point. Probably took us longer than all of us may have thought about back in the early 1990s, but it is one of the great times that a project we have before us is in keeping with the comprehensive plan. The staff recommendation is the petition for the rezoning is the first step in the process of creating the planned unit development. The petition for the PUD district ordinance, preliminary plat of PUD, and preliminary plan of PUD are subject to the subsequent petitions. Staff does recommend that the Plan Commission forward the petition subject to the approval of those PUD district ordinance, preliminary plat, preliminary plan, and to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. And that if you agree with the recommendation, staff requests that the report is adopted as preliminary findings of fact.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Do we have a motion to forward this to the city council?
I'll make a motion that we forward it to the city council for approval of the PUD district ordinance, preliminary plat of PUD, and preliminary plan of PUD.
Yeah, you have to say the recommendation is for a favorable, or the recommended motion is for saying a favorable recommendation to the City Council.
Recommendation is for favorable.
Yeah, you have to, you want to send it to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. That's the
Okay.
wording.
Okay, I make a motion that we forward it to the council, city council, for a favorable recommendation for approval of the PUD district ordinance, preliminary plat of PUD, and preliminary plan of PUD.
Yeah, and it's subject to those three.
Subject to.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Roger Brown,
Yes.
Stan Sutton,
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris,
Yes.
Dan Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Juan Moreno,
Yes.
Kim White,
Yes.
Thomas White,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay. Now, do we have a recommendation to adopt the staff report,
I'd move the report,
preliminary findings of fact?
I'd move that the report be adopted by the Plan Commission as preliminary findings of fact.
Second motion.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Hearing none? Roll call vote.
Ronnie Rock,
Yes.
Stan Sutton,
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris,
Yes.
Dan Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Juan Moreno,
Yes.
Kim White,
Yes.
Thomas White,
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay, that completes CP 15-15. Now, the next three, we're gonna combine together, CP 15-16 A, B, and C. And I'll read the titles. A is petition of the Marina District Development LLC for approval of the Marina District Development PUD District Ordinance located in the 900 block of Indianapolis Boulevard and the 1000 to 1100 block of Fifth Avenue located in the city of Hammond. B is a petition of the Marina District Development LLC for approval of in the Marina District Development Planned Unit Development District located at the 900 block of Indianapolis Boulevard, the 1000 and 1100 blocks of Fifth Avenue within the city of Hammond. And C is a petition of the Marina District Development LLC for preliminary development plan of PUD in the Marina District Development Planned Unit Development District located at the 900 block of Indianapolis Boulevard and the 1000, 1100 blocks of Fifth Avenue within the city of Hammond. Now, when it comes down to voting on these, we're gonna vote on them individually, but we can make the presentation on all three all at once. Dan?
Great. Well, again, I'm Dan with, Dan Tersman with Marina District Development. As you can see from the staff report here, it goes through each of the different parts to this process. I can start with the district ordinance. The overall intent of this project is to create a cohesive development where there's a kind of a symbiotic relationship between the different business offerings there, between restaurants, commercial, retail, shopping, and banking, and you know, with the existing Walmart shopping center there, and the proximity to the toll road and that access to the regional market. We've created this PUD to generally follow the C2 ordinance with a few specific provisions to try to, again, create that cohesive environment. So we've outlined some general architectural guidelines and design aesthetics that we'd like to try to implement in this project with really the goal of creating, you know, a nice development, nicer facility. We've outlined some goals of four-sided architecture along with different articulation in the architecture to particularly as it pertains to the road frontages and the public right-of-way. So the ordinance itself sets out in each of these developmental regulations, including, you know, again, the architectural guidelines as well as signage, landscaping, and parking requirements. It also goes into the permitted and restricted uses, which basically mirror the language and the intent that was established in the development agreement that was signed with the Redevelopment Commission for this project. So again, so that's essentially what is covered with the district ordinance. The plat of PUD, again, in my previous presentation, presented the fact that there are several different zoning classifications in parcels, so the plat would then incorporate those individual parcels into one PUD district, as well as incorporate in the vacated Fifth Avenue right-of-way, as well as the vacated 110th Street right-of-way, and then incorporate in the newly dedicated Fifth Avenue right-of-way for the realignment. So to illustrate that, essentially, existing Fifth Avenue currently continues straight out to Indianapolis Boulevard. So this portion, in some of our previous proceedings, we've gone through the process of vacating that portion of the right-of-way, and in exchange dedicating the new Fifth Avenue right-of-way so that it would allow for better presentation to the boulevard and better utilization of the overall parcel for new development. So the plat of PUD basically is to combine all those into the one PUD subdivision.
Dan,
Sorry?
did you have a drawing that showed, I know it's in the packet, but in your presentation drawing, you didn't have a drawing that showed all the lots?
I didn't print it out on, no, not on a board, but it is in part of the.
Right, everybody should have it, but, okay, just checking.
So, and then the next order of business on that would be the development plan of PUD. So again, with this shows the overall site plan in mind. There would be 8 developable lots or buildable lots, and then 2 outlots that would be used for detention and access drives. So we have a larger inline retail building planned here at the very southern end that would basically be in line with the Walmart building. We have another lot here that's figured for another potentially single-user retail space. We have a smaller inline retail building here that would be, the back of it would be to the Casino Center Drive. We have 4 lots across the frontage here that would be, that are considered restaurant lots, potentially a bank on the corner here. And again, one additional lot here in the corner that would be for another either single-user retail or small inline retail facility. The 2 outlots, Lot A is for detention. It also then includes these new drives that are private access drives, and then the larger detention pond for all of our on-site detention. The buildings currently right now that we are working with, I have some preliminary drawings, and I believe your packages show them, and I think we also discussed those in some of our previous proceedings. But we've tried to again create a color palette that is coordinating with the existing facility of Walmart, and that would go well with that. And again, with some of the development standards and architectural standards would be in keeping with that, primarily masonry, sod, and retail. Again, with our development plan that we submitted to you, we have preliminary landscape drawings in there, and again, the intent would be to have a primary focus on green space and aesthetically pleasing landscaping, particularly on the frontages to the roads. So that's I guess part C of the whole plan here.
Any questions for Dan? Any questions? If not, we'll open the public hearing. Does anyone in the audience have any questions? Anyone in the audience have any questions? Public hearing's closed. Brian, are you going to do these individually, or?
Yes, I'm just do them individually. I do want to augment a couple of comments here and there. Regarding the PUD district ordinance, just for everybody's understanding, in essence, this is a mini zoning ordinance for this specific property. The basis of it, as Dan stated, he referred to as C2. It actually is C2 and C4. There's aspects of both those zoning classifications that are in that. The C2 provisions were really how the signs were handled, and I will talk about that further when we talk about Part C. So as far as 1516A, the PUD district ordinance, let me get my drawings incorrect. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go on and talk about all three of them, then we'll go through the motions, okay? The preliminary plat of PUD, it was discussed about the 8 developable lots, 2 outlots. The lots range from 0.77 acres to 5.23 acres. As was stated, lots A and B are for detention as well as the access easements. Lot 8, which is an interior lot, does not abut a public street as required in the subdivision control ordinance. The petitioner is seeking a variance. Technically, variance is an incorrect word under the current state statute. The statute currently refers to it as a waiver. So the Planning Commission has jurisdiction over the waivers to the subdivision control ordinance and not the Board of Zoning Appeals. In the preliminary plat of PUD, what he has presented is an overall general layout of what could happen in the development. Lots 1 and 3 have already gone before the Planning Commission under the C2 regulations. And we will have to address and clean up the fact that they have to have the final development plan approval, but we can work through that. The signs, as I referred to, this development in its intent to be a cohesive and integrated development, and making sure that there is appropriate signage visible off the boulevard, has a couple of signs that are not on the lots that they normally would be on. So on lot 4, which is the first lot abutting the new Fifth Avenue on the west side of the new Fifth Avenue, actually has a sign easement reflected in the plat and a discussion of it reflected in the PUD district ordinance that allows for that multi-tenant sign to be there, but it technically is serving lot 1. In addition, there's an existing sign at the old access drive that goes into the Walmart that's going to remain. It's going to be adjacent to the new Roby Drive access drive. So, and it's technically currently on Walmart's property, but it'll now be on the outlot's property. So it's technically an off-premise sign. But the PUD district ordinance has a language that allows that to occur. And then there's a third sign on lot 7, which is at the intersection of the Marina Drive private access drive, which is also an existing sign that has Walmart on it.
Okay, I'll just point it out on the.
Yeah, I know, and I'm also trying to look for making sure I'm saying it correctly.
The first sign that Brian is referencing is right here. That's the first one you referenced, right? The second one? First one was this one.
First one was lot 4.
On 4. So there would be a sign located here that would be intended to serve the tenants of this building. That's located right here. second sign is right here, that's an existing Walmart sign, which again is currently on their property, but as the subdivision process, this would be an off-premise sign, it would remain what is currently there, as well as the sign in the corner here.
Right, and then that sign, third sign, serves Walmart as well as, I forgot who else.
The tenant for Lot 8.
Right, okay, all right, thank you. All right, so with parts A, B, and C, they are considered to be a part of the plan of PUD, the three components of it. So you have the district ordinance that gives you the regulations, you have the plat, you have the development plan, and I mean preliminary plat and preliminary development plan. So in looking at that, the ordinance requires us to go through some analysis under section 16.50. One of the things that was discussed by Dan was that there's a lot of architectural guidelines that we tried to incorporate into the PUD district ordinance to make this as compatible and as, bring up the standard of the architecture for the area. The PUD does require 8% of the property to be set aside for open space. The southern detention basin meets that requirement as well as exceeds that requirement. That allows for and there's language in the PUD district ordinance that addresses this. If there is a situation, in particular this might occur on Lot 8, that the individual landscape requirements can't be met because of the smallness of the lot or the unique awkward size of it, there is capacity or extra landscape area that can be used to make up that difference, and that's really one of the neat provisions of PUD that allows you to shift things around. Setbacks are addressed. One of the things that we talked about under the approval of Lot 1 and the C2 was that particular development doesn't meet the normal 25-foot setback off of Fifth Avenue. And you approve that subject to this being, the PUD district ordinance being adopted, because the PUD district ordinance now allows for that, it was 10-foot setback, I believe correctly. This is an area where there's no effect on any residential areas, and so no consequences from light overspill or traffic or issues like that. We've also have language in the PUD district ordinance and in some of in the sidewalk areas along Fifth Avenue to allow for wider sidewalks that would help take advantage of the bike trail that is in existence on 112th Street, which is on the south side of the Walmart. So the series of motions, starting with them, the first motion that the staff recommends is to grant the waiver to the subdivision control ordinance 157.021C to allow Lot 8 to not abut a street, and that ordinance requires you to make 4 points of the findings of fact. And I have language there that I'm recommending that you adopt for that purpose. The granting of the waiver is not detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, or injurious to other property, as the development has provided an alternate equal access to the lot by the privately maintained access drives of Marina Drive and Roby Drive. B, the unique conditions are that it is oddly shaped parcel resulting from the northwest-southeast angle of the boulevard and the size and depth of the available property left over from the existing developments of the Walmart and the fueling station. C, the parcel would result in an orphan property as it is not needed to meet the open space, dense detention, or access requirements. And then the internal private drives will make the property developable. The size of the parcel would provide a varied parcel size to create an appropriate mix within the development. And D, the parcel is oddly shaped, and any development is expected to meet the provisions of the PUD district ordinance, and the property is not located in a floodplain. So that's the recommendation for the first motion.
You want all that in the first motion?
Yes.
Who wants, who wants to tackle that?
Would the attorney accept the, so moved in this case?
Yeah.
Motion to grant the waiver of the subdivision control ordinance 157.021C to allow Lot 8 to not abut a street, based on the determination of the finding facts under 157.091A.
Just say as follows, or as stated in the report.
Okay, as
Yeah.
stated in the
Yeah,
report.
don't read all, don't read it.
That'll save you having to repeat all that. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Roger Brown?
Yes.
Shannon Sidley?
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
William Hutton? Yes. Juan Moreno?
Yes.
Kim White?
Yes.
Thomas White?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion
You outdid yourself on this one, Brian. This is the most complicated motion I've ever seen.
This whole project is very complicated.
It is. Are we gonna just do the findings of fact at the end, or do you want approval of a separate findings of fact
Well,
for this one?
For that waiver, it's a specific set of findings for that, so that's why that is called out separately,
Okay.
okay? So the second motion is to grant preliminary approval of the plat of PUD, subject to the granting of the waiver.
Do we have such a motion?
Motion to grant preliminary approval of the plat of PUD subject to the granting of the waiver, CP-15-16B.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none? Roll call vote.
Roger Brown?
Yes.
Shannon Sidley?
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
William Hutton? Yes. Juan Moreno?
Yes.
Kim White? Yes. Thomas White?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay, so then that completes A, right, Brian? Now we move to B?
Well, the motion you just did was for B, so now we're doing the motion for C. We haven't
C.
done A yet.
Pardon?
We have not had the motion for A yet. We've only had the motion for B. There's two, B, and then we're now going to do C. So the number 3, the recommended motion is the preliminary approval of the development plan of PUD. That's for C.
Is anyone going to make that motion?
A motion to grant preliminary approval of development plan of PUD CP-15-16C.
Do you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Roger Brown?
Yes.
Shannon Sidley?
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
William Hutton? Yes. Juan Moreno?
Yes.
Kim White? Yes. Thomas White?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay, the fourth motion is to forward the PUD district ordinance to the city council with a favorable recommendation.
I'd move we,
Who wants to make it?
I'd move we forward the PUD or PUD district ordinance to the city council with a favorable recommendation.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? Way down at that end. We have motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Roger Brown?
Yes.
Shannon Sidley?
Yes.
Nathaniel Harris?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
William Hutton?
Yes.
Juan Moreno?
Yes.
Kim White? Yes. Thomas White?
Yes.
8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay, so now we need to adopt, let's see, the staff report as preliminary findings of fact, right, Brian?
Yes.
Do I have such a motion?
I'd move the staff report be adopted by the Planning Commission as preliminary findings of fact.
Second.
Motion and second, questions or comments? Hearing none. Those in favor, those in favor say aye. Did you want us to, we don't need to vote individually, right?
For this one, that's okay.
Those against? See, they're all ayes.
Okay, just the last comment, just for the record. The PUD district ordinance goes to the city council for their approval. The preliminary plat, the preliminary plan do not, but that documentation is going to be sent to the city council for reference purposes. We will have to come back and do final plat and final development plans as they, final plan at the next meeting. And that, the development plans, will come in as the developments come in. We also have to kind of clean up the lot 1 and lot 3 to get them, development plan, a motion to approve that under this, once the PUD district ordinance is passed. And then, lot A and B, we have to get that in place.
Okay,
We're there, we're bidding there.
so now we need to move down to correspondence. Is there any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Any commissioners' comments? Any staff comments?
Yeah, the, coming up in October is the, conference for the Indiana Planning Association. And it's going to be in South Bend this year. And I believe, I think I sent out an email to those that I did have an email for, that there is going to be a training session for the Board of Zoning Appeals on the Wednesday. And if anybody's interested in going to that, please let me know, and we'll see how we can work that out. And as I stated, we will have a meeting in September to do some of these final actions on this PUD.
Any other staff comments? Any public comments? We have a motion to adjourn. No one wants to make that motion?
We're scared to.
First to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes.
Hope Harriet is